The heart of London beats with a special rhythm at this time of year. As the calendar pages turn to December, a unique festive magic descends upon the city. Nowhere is this more apparent than on Regent Street, where a canopy of glittering angels seems to float above the iconic red buses and bustling black cabs. Their wings, crafted from thousands of tiny lights, stretch across the grand thoroughfare, casting a warm golden glow on the crowds below. Shoppers, with arms full of brightly wrapped gifts, pause to look up, their faces illuminated by the dazzling display. It is a scene straight from a Christmas card, a perfect picture of London dressed in its festive best. This breathtaking spectacle creates an atmosphere of pure enchantment. The air, crisp and cool, carries the distant sound of carol singers and the cheerful chatter of families enjoying the moment. The grand storefronts of historic shops are themselves works of art, with elaborate decorations that draw you into a world of holiday wonder. Yet, amidst all this carefully crafted beauty, there is a collective wish that hangs in the air, a quiet hope for one more magical element. People look at the bright lights and then glance up at the dark night sky, dreaming of the one thing that would make this perfect scene truly complete: a gentle blanket of falling snow. The dream of a white Christmas in London is a powerful and enduring one. It is a fantasy fueled by classic stories, from Dickens's A Christmas Carol to modern holiday films that depict the capital transformed into a winter wonderland. We imagine snowflakes softly dusting the top of St. Paul's Cathedral, covering the lions in Trafalgar Square with a delicate white coat, and turning Hyde Park into a glistening, silent expanse. This romantic vision is so deeply ingrained in our culture that the festive season almost feels incomplete without it. The twinkling lights on Regent Street are beautiful, but they seem to be calling out for the soft, silent dance of snowflakes to join them. For now, the city waits in hopeful anticipation. The festive glow of the lights provides the warmth, but the people provide the hope. Every gust of wind is met with a curious glance. Every drop of rain is scrutinized, just in case it might be the precursor to something more magical. The dream of snow unites Londoners and visitors alike, a shared desire for that picture-perfect moment when the city's familiar sounds are hushed by a fresh fall. As the lights of Regent Street continue to shine brightly, the city holds its breath, wondering if this will be the year that the festive dream finally comes true and the angels are joined by a flurry of white. As we move deeper into December, the reality of London's weather is proving to be quite different from our snowy daydreams. The city is currently experiencing a spell of weather that feels more like late autumn than the beginning of deep winter. Instead of sharp, biting frosts and crisp, clear skies, we have been waking up to days that are noticeably mild for this time of year. The temperatures have been consistently hovering a few degrees above the long-term average, meaning that a thick winter coat often feels a little too warm during the middle of the day. This persistent mildness has kept the ground soft and the parks green, delaying the arrival of that classic winter chill we often expect. This warmth has been accompanied by a familiar companion rain. The skies over London have frequently been a uniform shade of grey, bringing spells of drizzle and sometimes heavier downpours that have made carrying an umbrella a daily necessity. The pavements are often slick and reflective, mirroring the festive lights in shimmering puddles rather than being dusted with frost. This pattern of damp, mild weather is not unusual for London, but it can feel a little disappointing for those holding out hope for snow. The constant wetness serves as a reminder that the conditions are just not cold enough for precipitation to turn into the magical white flakes we are all wishing for. The atmosphere this creates is one of soggy resilience. Londoners are well accustomed to rain, and the festive spirit is certainly not dampened by the weather. People continue to throng the Christmas markets, clutching warm drinks and huddling under large umbrellas as they browse the stalls. The sound of rain tapping against the roof of a pub or a cafe window adds to the cozy feeling of being indoors, safe and warm. However, there is no denying that the persistent mildness and dampness shape the character of the festive season. It becomes less about crisp winter walks and more about finding refuge in warm, inviting spaces away from the persistent drizzle. Looking back at the records, this pattern is part of a broader trend. Recent Decembers in London and the wider UK have often leaned towards the milder and wetter side. While we always remember the exceptional cold snaps of years gone by, the typical December day in the capital is more likely to be grey and damp than it is to be white and frozen. This year seems to be following that familiar script, with the prevailing weather systems bringing moisture-laden air from the Atlantic rather than cold air from the Arctic. This reality means that while we can still dream of snow, the current conditions are pointing firmly in a different direction. When we look at the current weather maps for the UK and Northern Europe, a very clear story begins to emerge. The dominant feature we are seeing right now is a large area of low pressure situated out in the Atlantic Ocean. Think of these low pressure systems as giant rotating weather engines that tend to draw in air from their surroundings. Because this particular system is positioned to the west of the UK, it is pulling in a steady stream of relatively mild and moist air from the southwest. This air has travelled over the vast, warmer waters of the Atlantic, picking up a great deal of moisture along the way, which is why our weather has been so damp. This setup is what meteorologists refer to as a zonal flow, where the weather patterns move in a west to east direction across the country. On the maps, you can see the isobars, the lines of equal pressure, spaced quite closely together, indicating a strong jet stream high up in the atmosphere. This fast-moving river of air is steering these weather systems directly towards us, one after another. This procession of low-pressure systems means we are unlikely to see a settled period of weather anytime soon. Instead, we can expect a continuation of this changeable pattern, with periods of rain and wind, followed by brief, brighter interludes before the next system arrives. For snow to form, we need a completely different weather pattern. We would need to see high pressure building to the north of the UK, perhaps over Scandinavia or Greenland. This would block the mild Atlantic flow and instead allow cold air to be drawn down from the Arctic. On a weather map, this would look like a northerly or easterly flow, with winds coming from a much colder source region. This setup is what brings the kind of widespread, freezing temperatures necessary for snow to fall, and, crucially, to settle on the ground. At present, the maps show no sign of such a blocking high-pressure system forming in the near future. So, as we look towards the Christmas period, the weather charts are currently favouring a continuation of the mild and mobile Atlantic pattern. The computer models, which simulate the atmosphere's behaviour over the coming days and weeks, are largely in agreement on this general theme. While there is always some uncertainty in a long-range forecast, the prevailing signal is for temperatures to remain at or slightly above average. This means that any precipitation that falls is overwhelmingly likely to be rain rather than snow for London and much of southern England. The dream of a white Christmas remains, for now, just a dream, as the maps continue to paint a green and wet picture. When we turn to the long-range forecasting experts for their professional opinion, their analysis largely confirms what the weather maps are suggesting. Forecasters from the Met Office and other leading weather organisations are cautious, as predicting specific weather for a single day weeks in advance is notoriously difficult. However, by looking at large-scale global patterns and computer model ensembles, they can provide a general outlook. The consensus right now is that the probability of a white Christmas in London this year is lower than average. This is primarily due to the strong and persistent Atlantic jet stream that is expected to continue dominating our weather through December. These experts explain that the key ingredients for snow, cold air and moisture are unlikely to come together at the right time over southern England. The current weather pattern is bringing plenty of moisture, but the air is simply not cold enough. For snow to fall, the temperature in the atmosphere all the way down to the ground needs to be at or below 0 degrees Celsius. With the prevailing southwesterly winds bringing air from the mild Atlantic, temperatures are forecast to remain several degrees above freezing. Even on the coldest nights, any frost is likely to be fleeting before the next mild and damp air mass arrives from the west. Some forecasters point to broader climate signals, such as the State of the North Atlantic Oscillation, or NAO. The NAO is a large-scale pressure difference between the Icelandic low and the Azores high. When the NAO is in a positive phase, as it has been recently, the jet stream is typically stronger and follows a more northerly track, pushing mild, wet weather across the UK. The models suggest this positive phase is likely to persist, further reducing the chances of a significant cold spell. While a sudden shift is never impossible, the overwhelming evidence points towards a continuation of the current mild and unsettled conditions. However, no forecast is ever set in stone, and the experts always leave room for a small degree of uncertainty. They often remind us that a white Christmas is technically defined by the Met Office as just one snowflake being observed falling in the 24 hours of Christmas Day. So even if we don't get the thick blanket of snow we dream of, a few fleeting flakes are not entirely out of the question if a short-lived cold snap were to materialise at just the right moment. But for now, the professional advice is to prepare for a green Christmas rather than a white one, as the odds are firmly stacked in favour of mild and damp conditions. London's geographical location plays a huge role in why a snowy Christmas is such a rare event. The city is situated in the southeast of England, surrounded by the relatively warm waters of the North Sea and the English Channel. More importantly, it is directly in the path of the Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current that brings warm water from the Gulf of Mexico all the way across the Atlantic. This current acts like a giant hot water bottle for Western Europe, keeping our winters significantly milder than other places at a similar latitude, such as Moscow or Newfoundland in Canada, which are often buried in deep snow at this time of year. This maritime influence means that the air reaching London, even in the depths of winter, has often travelled over a large expanse of sea that is several degrees above freezing. This journey warms the air from below, making it very difficult for temperatures to drop low enough for snow. For significant snowfall to occur in London, the wind needs to come from a very specific direction, typically from the east or northeast. This brings bitterly cold continental air from Siberia or Scandinavia, which has not had a chance to be warmed by the sea. This weather pattern is relatively uncommon, as our prevailing winds are usually from the milder southwest. Another significant factor is the urban heat island effect. London is a vast, sprawling metropolis of concrete, brick, and tarmac. These materials absorb and retain heat far more effectively than a natural landscape of fields and forests. Throughout the day, buildings and roads soak up warmth from the sun, and at night, they slowly release it back into the atmosphere. This process, combined with heat generated from buildings, transport, and millions of people, means that central London can be several degrees warmer than its surrounding rural areas. This extra warmth is often just enough to turn falling snow into sleet or rain. So, for London to experience a proper snowfall, a perfect combination of factors is needed. We need a sustained period of cold air from the continent to overcome the warming effect of the sea. We also need this cold air to be deep enough to counteract the urban heat island effect. And finally, we need a weather front to move into this cold air mass, providing the moisture needed for snow to fall. Getting all these ingredients to come together at the same time is a meteorological challenge, which is why a picturesque snow-covered London remains an infrequent and cherished spectacle rather than a regular winter occurrence. In today's connected world, the collective hope for a white Christmas finds a powerful voice online. As soon as the festive season begins, social media platforms like X, Instagram, and TikTok come alive with conversations about the weather. Hashtags such as London Snow and White Christmas start to trend, acting as digital gathering points for everyone sharing the same wish. People post nostalgic photos from past snowfalls, sharing memories of building snowmen in Clapham Common or sledging on Hampstead Heath. These posts create a wave of hopeful energy, a kind of modern-day snow dance performed with keyboards and touchscreens. This online excitement often builds with every dip in the temperature. When a weather forecast mentions even a slight possibility of sleet or snow, these hashtags explode with activity. People share screenshots of their weather apps, circling the tiny snowflake icon with messages of hope and anticipation. It becomes a shared citywide obsession, with strangers connecting over their mutual desire for a festive flurry. Influencers and local news outlets join in, running polls asking followers if they think this will be the year. This digital chatter amplifies the real-world anticipation, turning a simple weather forecast into a major talking point for millions. The conversation is not just about hope, it's also filled with humour and a touch of classic British cynicism. You will see posts joking about the city grinding to a halt at the sight of a single snowflake, or memes comparing the romantic expectation of a winter wonderland with the slushy, grey reality that often follows. This light-hearted banter is part of the fun, a way of managing expectations while still holding on to the dream. The shared experience of watching the forecast, hoping for the best, and joking about the outcome brings people together, creating a sense of community around the simple, unpredictable nature of the weather. This year, despite the mild forecasts, the digital snow dance continues with as much enthusiasm as ever. People are tagging their friends in posts about the Regent Street lights, adding comments like, "Imagine this with snow," or "All we need now is a little bit of festive magic." The hashtags are full of these hopeful messages, a testament to the enduring power of the white Christmas dream. It shows that even if the meteorological conditions are not in our favour, the spirit of hope is very much alive and well online. The city is collectively crossing its digital fingers, proving that the wish for snow is just as much a part of the London Christmas experience as the lights and the carols. While the dream of a white Christmas is a lovely one, the festive magic of London certainly does not depend on it. The city offers a wealth of wonderful experiences that are perfect for a mild and damp December. One of the best ways to soak up the atmosphere is to dive into one of the many cosy pubs dotted across the capital. Imagine finding a snug corner next to a roaring fireplace, with the sound of rain against the window and a warm drink in hand. Places like the Churchill Arms in Kensington, famous for its incredible display of Christmas trees, or Ye Olde Cheshire Cheese, with its historic, dimly lit rooms, offer a perfect refuge from the weather and a taste of traditional London charm. If you are looking for festive activities that are sheltered from the elements, London's indoor spaces come alive during the holiday season. You could spend an afternoon exploring the V&A or the British Museum, which are often less crowded and beautifully peaceful at this time of year. For a truly festive experience, why not book tickets for a classic Christmas show in the West End, like the Nutcracker Ballet, or a traditional pantomime? These indoor spectacles provide all the sparkle and magic you could wish for, allowing you to escape the grey skies and immerse yourself in a world of colour, music, and festive cheer, all while staying warm and dry. For those who are truly determined to find a touch of winter frost, a short trip out of the city might be the answer. The surrounding hills of the Chilterns or the North Downs are at a slightly higher altitude and are away from the city's urban heat island. This means they often have a better chance of seeing frost or even a dusting of snow when temperatures are borderline. A brisk winter walk in these areas can reward you with beautiful frosty landscapes and crisp, cold air. Alternatively, many of London's larger parks host outdoor ice skating rinks, such as the one at Somerset House, where you can experience the thrill of gliding on ice against a stunning backdrop,
creating your own wintry scene. Ultimately, the key to enjoying a London winter is to embrace the conditions, whatever they may be. A rainy day is the perfect excuse to explore a new gallery, a classic cinema, or spend hours in a charming bookshop. A mild day is ideal for a long walk along the South Bank, enjoying the festive markets without getting too cold. The city's festive glow is not diminished by the lack of snow. It simply shines in a different way. By focusing on the warmth of indoor gatherings, the beauty of the lights reflected on wet streets, and the joy of shared experiences, you can make this festive season in London truly memorable, with or without a single snowflake.
As we draw closer to the 25th of December, it is time to consolidate all the information and provide a clear summary of London's snow chances for this year. Based on the current long-range forecasts and the analysis of prevailing weather patterns, the likelihood of a widespread picturesque snowfall in London on Christmas Day, 2025, remains low. The dominant weather setup, driven by a strong Atlantic jet stream, is continuing to push mild and moist air across the UK. This pattern is the very opposite of what is required for a significant cold snap, making a classic white Christmas an unlikely scenario for the capital. The key factors working against snow are twofold. Firstly, the source of our air is the relatively warm Atlantic Ocean, which keeps our temperatures several degrees above the freezing point needed for snow. Secondly, London's own urban heat island effect provides an additional buffer of warmth, often turning potential snowflakes into sleet or rain before they can even reach the ground in the city centre. For these reasons, forecasters are confident that the most probable outcome for Christmas Day is a continuation of the mild and potentially damp weather we have seen for much of December. A green Christmas is therefore the most realistic expectation. However, weather forecasting, especially this far out, is a game of probabilities, not certainties. There is always a small outside chance that the forecast models could be wrong, or that the weather pattern could shift unexpectedly in the run-up to the big day. A slight wobble in the jet stream or the temporary development of a blocking high-pressure system could introduce a brief shot of colder air. In such a scenario, we might see some sleet or even a few fleeting snowflakes mixed in with the rain, particularly over higher ground on the outskirts of London. This would technically meet the definition of a white Christmas, even if it falls short of the winter wonderland dream. So, in conclusion, while we should not get our hopes up for building a snowman in Hyde Park on Christmas morning, the book is not entirely closed. The overwhelming evidence points towards a mild and wet day, but a last-minute surprise can never be completely ruled out in the world of British weather. The most sensible approach is to plan for a green Christmas while still keeping a hopeful eye on the forecast as the day gets closer. The magic of Christmas is about more than just the weather, but a little bit of festive hope for a few flakes never hurts. And so, as the final days of Advent tick by, London remains a city caught between a mild, damp reality and a persistent, hopeful dream. The magnificent lights of Regent Street will continue to shine, the festive markets will remain full of cheer, and the spirit of Christmas will thrive in the capital's homes, pubs, and theatres. The weather, in its predictable unpredictability, has so far given us a season of green parks and grey skies. The scientific evidence and expert forecasts all point towards a continuation of this pattern, suggesting our umbrellas will be more useful than our sledges this Christmas. Yet the question lingers in the air, whispered in conversations, and shared across social media. Is a green Christmas the new normal for London? As our climate changes, will the snowy winters of the past become rarer still, confined to old photographs and festive films? It is a thought-provoking question, one that adds a layer of poignancy to our collective wish. Perhaps our longing for snow is not just about a pretty scene, but also a desire to connect with a sense of tradition and a climate we remember from years gone by. The hope for snow becomes a hope that some things can stay the same. In the end, The beauty of the festive season lies in its capacity for magic and surprise. Weather forecasts are based on data and models, but the atmosphere on Christmas morning is made of something more. It is made of the excitement of children, the warmth of family, and the shared joy of a special day. A surprise flurry of snow would be a wonderful bonus, a magical gift from nature to the city. But even if it does not arrive, the festive glow of London will not be diminished. The city's heart will beat just as strongly, warmed by its own unique and resilient brand of Christmas spirit. Now the question turns to you. What are your hopes for this festive season? Are you dreaming of a white Christmas, or are you happy to embrace the season whatever the weather may bring? Do you have a favourite memory of snow in London? Or a special cosy spot you retreat to when the weather is grey? The forecast may be written in the charts, but the story of our Christmas is one we write ourselves. As we look to the skies one last time before the big day, the city holds its breath together, united in a single, simple, festive wish.